I spent 4 days in Iceland, and this is how it went. We left from London airport to go over to Reykjavik, but the day before we left, this happened.
The volcano is erupting. It is spewing hot lava. Lava flowed into the fishing town of Grindavik.
There is a new volcanic eruption.
Luckily, no one was harmed. The flights were able to go ahead too. We then hired a car and headed down to our first stop, which is Uriathos. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get all these names wrong, so I will make sure there is text on the bottom. Our plan was to drive to southeast of Iceland, ready for tomorrow, and you will see why that is later on in the video. It was going to take a 5-hour journey altogether, so we only stopped twice on the first day. And the only bad thing about Iceland in the winter is it got dark very, very quick. And by that I mean there was not much daylight hours. If you do hire a car, you'll probably end up on the ring road, which is exactly where we are. And this waterfall is directly off the ring road. And I would say definitely worth a stop. It is beautiful. You can see the ice flowing down the waterfall. The next stop was Seljalandsfoss. This waterfall is absolutely beautiful. They have a path where you can walk all the way around it, which is what we did, but be warned, you will get wet. Unfortunately, like I said earlier with the daylight hours, by the time we'd got there it was dark, but luckily for us we did have some torches. Not only that, but there were lights there shining on the waterfall. Like I said earlier, we had a 5-hour drive that day, so this was actually our last stop of the day. Our first stop on day 2 was to the ice caves. Getting to the ice caves was an adventure in itself. We met our guide and jumped into these super SUVs to get to the caves. We were met with a view from the Northern Lights. The short walk down to the ice caves, we were met by breathtaking scenery. Visiting the ice caves was an unforgettable experience. Seeing ice above you was incredible, and walking through the ice caves until you had to crouch was something I'll never forget. One fact I love is the fact that the ice caves are never the same. They're constantly changing. The videos don't come out as good as I hope. However, I do have some pictures that hopefully paints the picture of how beautiful these ice caves really were. I headed over to my next stop, which was the glaciers of Iceland. It is absolutely freezing. The temperature is -5. Hopefully it's not too windy so you can hear me. I don't know how well you can see these glaciers. Here we go, there's a big one up there. It is unbelievable. In my opinion, this is the most beautiful place that I've seen in Iceland. Unfortunately, the glaciers don't come out as good on camera as they are in real life. If you want any photos then, this is the place to be. All the smaller glaciers end up floating out into sea, and then they land on a nearby beach, which is my next stop, which is Diamond Beach. Unfortunately, I didn't get much footage here, but this place was impressive, and I was able to sit on a giant ice rock. After going to Diamond Beach, we seen 2 more waterfalls. We went to Hundafoss and Svartifoss. However, it was quite dark, so they were quite hard to see. You were able to see them on some pictures. This was the same scenario with my next stop. Now, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this place, but it is a canyon. So the videos I took are no good because they're completely pitch black, but I do have a couple of photos. And when I got back to my hotel, this is what I discovered. This is the fire exit. All very normal. Except when you come in here, this is the fire exit room. No fire exit, alright. There's a window with a rope attached to the wall. I don't know if you can see. So if there is a fire, gotta throw this outside and then jump out the window. You can't really see well, but that is the fire exit. It is the start of day 3. We headed straight to our first stop, which was the Black Beach. Now, when you first think of beach, I'm guessing you think swimming, but this is no place for swimming at all. The waves are really, really dangerous, so just be careful. They even have a warning system when you enter the beach. We didn't stay too long here because we had a busy day ahead of us. So we headed straight over to our next stop, which was Skogafoss. This waterfall is probably the best waterfall I've ever seen in my life, let alone in Iceland. This is obviously a great place to get some pictures, and of course I had to grab some myself. One thing I absolutely love about this waterfall is you can walk up and see the view from above. One thing I will say is be very careful. When I was there, we witnessed one guy fall and hit his head. So one thing I will recommend you get is a pair of crampons. We then headed to an old volcano crater which had completely frozen over. After staying there for a little while, we headed over to our next stop, which was the geysers. The geyser goes off about every 5 to 10 minutes, so make sure to have your cameras ready to capture this magical moment. And if you wonder what they sound like, here it is. Of course, I had to get a picture with the geyser, and this is what I had to do to stay warm. But the end result was worth it. If you think that dancing around was not necessary, and that it couldn't have been that cold, let me tell you. It's very cold out here. My eyelashes are frozen, so have my eyebrows. No. My next stop then was the last waterfall of the trip, and what a way to end it with Gullfoss. This waterfall was absolutely massive, and of course, like the rest of them, beautiful. To end the day, we headed into Reykjavik to go and see Rainbow Road and the church, which I definitely won't be able to pronounce. After walking around Reykjavik, we headed back to our hotel, where we were able to see the northern lights ever so slightly. It is the final day of this wonderful trip, so we started off this day by heading back over to the church to have a look inside. We didn't stay too long, but we then headed over to our next destination, which was the hot springs. We would have headed over to the Blue Lagoon, however, due to the volcano eruption, it was closed. So we hopped on the internet and we found these hot springs. It was so relaxing. They have plenty of pools, a bar, beautiful scenery while you simmer in the water. This place was quite expensive to enter. It cost the equivalent of £50. That is why we decided to stay for so long. Of course, we had to get our money's worth, and I have to say, it's a great chance to get some photos for your Instagram. Of course, I got a few. Oh, no, not that one. This is the one I'm talking about, and this one. We then headed to the airport. However, on our way to the airport, we were hit with a massive snowstorm, as you can see in this video. But that was my trip to Iceland, so I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more travel content, make sure you subscribe, and thank you for watching, and goodbye.